Hey, good morning, family. So, Reginald Martin here of Comedic Center Living, where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening. So, I wanted to talk about a topic today that is really helping you understand that really loving and appreciating yourself is paramount. Okay, when I'm talking about these ideas, it's to help you elevate consciously and to connect high vibrationally with the consciousness and with the information, So it is always going to be the energy that you are filtering your experience through that is going to set the level of consciousness that you're able to access and learn through. Okay, so I'm giving you the science here, and that's one of the things I like to do, because a lot of people think spirituality is woo-woo, or being spiritual is just the same thing as being religious. And I know as Christians, a lot of times that was equated, but spirituality and religion are not the same thing. So spirituality is about an internal focus, and religion is about an external focus, where you're having to follow rules and edicts and doctrines, and you're externally controlled, where spirituality is about your natural inner guidance. Now, it is important that when you are accessing your natural inner guidance, that you are doing it from a place of love and appreciation for who you are. All right. And I want to give a couple of examples to help you understand that a lot of times we have these dogmatic ways of talking about what we call spiritual knowledge. Okay, I call it metaphysical, which is above the physical, but we access it in a way that makes us adversaries of our own self. So it's important that you not set up an adversarial relationship to yourself, because if you do, you lose. That's not to say that you don't have to, because again, all experience is valid. One thing I like to say is that our existence is a paradox in a sense, and a paradox means that it's this and that. All of it is valid experience. It's about what you want or desire to experience. And if you're not experiencing what you desire, then obviously you want to change. So here, the science of it is about helping those who want to change, okay? And giving step-by-step processes that help you do that. So that's what my content here at KCL is about. It's not just about just giving you information. You can go and research that stuff for yourself, but I'm going to give you my insights through my experience. Okay, so one of the ways that we set up an adversarial position to ourselves is with what we call the ego. Okay, and this is not just a Christian thing. I see this in so many other spiritual systems or spiritual gurus that, talk about, abolish the ego, or, just annihilate the ego, get rid of your ego, and blah, blah, blah. And to me, it means that they don't understand what the ego is and what it does and what it means for you, okay? So I'm going to break down the science of the ego and explain what it is. And what it is an artificial division of our consciousness, okay? And is an artificial human division of our consciousness, because the ego is our ability to focus into physical reality, which is a narrow band of all the possible experience that our consciousness can have, okay? that you can have as a human being, having a spiritual, or I'm sorry, as a spiritual being having a human experience. You have focused yourself into this narrow band of experience that we call physical reality, okay? That's what the ego does. The ego has the ability to tell you what has happened, okay? Because anything that you experience in the physical is a delay from your inner experience being projected outward, okay? Hear me again on that. Anything that you experience in the physical is a delayed experience based on your inner vibration projecting that experience into reality. And your ego can only recognize, what we call the ego, can only recognize that delayed experience, okay? Now, if you set up the ego as adversarial, no, let me step back. So when we're talking about the ego being able to focus into the outer world, okay, it also is the same consciousness and ability to turn back within. So that ego can actually focus in the outer world, but it can also turn within and focus on the inner experience, okay, our inner subjective experience. It's all subjective, but as soon as you set up your ego as an adversary, family, that means that you are setting up automatic energetic blocks for yourself. And an energetic block in the sense that you lock yourself or box yourself into a certain level of consciousness based on your belief or your negative belief about the ego, okay? And understand, it is an artificial human division that we need, because we like to partition stuff into certain ways of experience so that we can even talk about them, okay? That it's just a natural thing that we do. But beyond our physical experience, that division does not exist, okay? So having an ego is simply being able to see that delayed experience, our delayed inner experience. The ego, in a sense, is looking into the mirror of our experience, okay? And basically having the ability to say, hey, this is what's going on in your life, all right? So that's the ego, all right? So I'm saying to you that to make it an adversary does not put you, it ends up lowering your vibration, okay, is what it does. And if you lower your vibration, you only access consciousness. You only have the energy to access consciousness at that narrow band, okay? So another thing is, so that's it on the ego for now. So another thing is, when I'm talking about a lot of these ideas, family, so I am not talking absolutes here, okay? I am not saying this is the only way, because I can talk about the idea of deja vu, talk about the idea of premonitions, talk about the idea of the ego, okay? And a lot of people seem to want to be like, well, this is how I experience it and this is it, and blah, blah, blah. I get it, It is not, when I am speaking of something, most times I am speaking through my experience. I'm only one person, but the experiences that we can have are infinite, okay? There's as many possibilities and more than people on earth that we can experience things in different ways. So I am not saying it's that how I express and explain things is the absolute, okay? And a lot of people say, hey man, you're spitting truth. All truths are half true, okay? That's an ancient axiom. In other words, subjectively speaking, your truth is not the truth of that other person, okay? So all truths are half true. That's what that axiom means. And it basically helps identify our subjectivity as our truth, which again goes back to the ancient principles of Ma'at, truth and reciprocity, okay? So I did a video talking about to explain, help you understand the differences between deja vu and premonitions. And the only reason I do that again is just, it's about the science of it, okay? When you can have a clear understanding of the science, it just makes a difference. So when I am, oh boy, okay, I gotta come through this this water and mud here. So it's been raining here the last few days. So gotta come through it. Okay, I made it. Okay. So, I was explaining or breaking down the difference between visualization, deja vu, and premonitions in a video. And somebody commented and said, hey, I don't visualize because I have this, and I can't remember what the name is. I couldn't even pronounce it. So it started with an A, but I can't remember what the name is. But what I gathered from that comment is the person was saying, hey, what about me? You know, I don't visualize, you know, does that lock me out of this experience of trying to manifest through visualization, okay? And absolutely, positively not, okay? So, and this goes back to understanding you have to love and appreciate who you are, the essence of everything that you are. You are perfectly and beautifully made for the experience that you are having in this life, okay? So there is nothing wrong with you. If you can't visualize, then most likely that means that you have a gift in another area, because you can't have one part that doesn't work or you think doesn't work. It is always, the opposite is always possible, family. So, and you have to find that opposite that expresses who you are. Okay, does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. So let me know in the comments if that makes sense. And oh, and when you're speaking to me in the comments, family, remember I've done this video probably by the time most of you are seeing this, unless you remember, I've done this video probably 2 weeks ago or more, okay? So give me some context when you're asking questions, you know, because I know a lot of people are kind of looking at the video and they're talking to the video, but you know, it's a representation of me, it's not me, okay? So I need some context of the ideas that you might be talking about, okay? Or asking questions about, okay? But at any rate, so what I'm saying is that you have the ability. It's kind of like, and I like to relate this back to my athletic days a lot, because as an athlete, everybody had different skills and different levels of ability. Some people were good at one thing and some people were good at another. You know, and I played basketball, okay? So I could dribble and shoot real well, you know, because I was one of the little guys. I'm 6'3", but in my college days playing ball, I was one of the little guys. So I was short compared to everybody else, okay? But that did not deter me, because I knew I had some skills that the big guys couldn't do. One was dribbling, and two is being able to shoot, okay? So I didn't look at myself as deficient. I accentuated the abilities that I had. I couldn't be tall, okay? So you might not be able to visualize, but you have the ability to be clairaudient, okay? Kinesthetic, meaning that you can feel, okay? So all of these experiences are possibilities. So just because you can't visualize doesn't mean that you can't manifest, because obviously you do, you're here, all right? But one ability might be muted, but another ability that you haven't thought about because you're looking at what you don't have. And I'm not saying this is what that person was doing, so I don't know. They just made that one question, but I know a lot of times that's what people end up doing, is that they'll look at what they don't have and focus on that and never consider the gifts that they do. And sometimes you have to look at yourself in a way, in a loving and appreciative way, to figure out what your gifts might be, okay? And I told y'all before that I was one of those people I couldn't see, because I was looking at myself in a negative way through my religious and Christian training. To look at my gifts and to say something good about myself was a no-no, okay? That was being prideful, you know? You're supposed to be humble, you know? The more humbler you are, I don't know if that's the word, but the humbler you are, the better, you know? You're being more godly when you're humble. Hell, even be self-effacing. I'm a wretch, you know? Say something bad about yourself. That puts you closer to God. Bullshit, okay? Call it. Let me call it, okay? When you set up an adversarial position to who you are, you lower your vibration and you limit what consciousness that you can access knowledge and information through every single time, okay, family? So you have to learn to love and appreciate who you are, not talk about who you're not, okay? Not highlight what you're not or what you can't do. Because just taking it back to the athletic analogy, every basketball player, and especially like the NBA, man, those guys are some of the most gifted individuals that you ever want to see on the basketball court. Half the time they don't even show all the things that they can do. But each one of them uses what they have to the best of their ability to make it in the NBA, okay? And all of them don't have the same skill, and all of them don't have the same ability, but they all are gifted at what they do, okay? You are gifted at something, all right? You got to figure that out. And when you're gifted at something, that means you can help us. You know, you can tap into that consciousness, bring who you are, and you can help the collective, okay? That to me is the beauty of really loving and appreciating who you are, is that you bring who you are in a way that opens a space for others to be, all right? That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful, 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 okay? Y'all hear my southern accent coming out, beautiful thing. Yes, I'm southern. I say y'all. And I can always tell a person who ain't southern that tries to say y'all, man, they just butcher it. There's just a certain way it flows. But anyway, so it's important that you, one, the ego is not your adversary, okay? It is a tool, and you have to understand it like that. It is a tool. And the ability to, you have to love yourself. And, you know, and a lot of times I can go back to the Bible and find a scripture, and a lot of times it's been misused or misinterpreted. And one of those scriptures is, love thy neighbor as thyself, okay? And that scripture is actually practiced backwards, because what it ends up doing is causing us to think about sacrificing ourselves for our neighbor, okay? In other words, we move ourselves to the side and the importance of who we are to the side. It's more from a Christian perspective, it's more godlike to sacrifice yourself like Jesus, okay, than it is to take care of you and promote yourself, okay, or to take care of your needs first, put yourself first. Family, that's backwards. That scripture should actually read, love thyself and you can love your neighbor. Because if you hate yourself, family, let me tell you, I've experienced that. People who will say something like, man, do you love God? I love God. But they can't even love themselves, okay? And I want to give you an exercise to help you check this. Check for yourself what you really feel about loving you. I want you to look in the mirror. Look into your eyes in the mirror and say, I love you. And family, if you feel any kind of tug or butterflies in your stomach or some kind of anything that is the opposite of appreciation, you've been programmed to not love you, okay? And you have to tune in to your feelings. You got to tune into that inner feeling. And you have to be honest with yourself, family, because it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter if you say in the comments, oh yeah, I love myself, you know. It doesn't matter what I think or anybody else. Being honest with yourself is being honest with you about you. That's all that matters, okay? So look in the mirror and do that. Look in the mirror. And if you feel any kind of way the opposite of appreciation, you got work to do, okay? Hey family, a quick addendum regarding, having work to do, on yourself. And this is another aspect of this. If the life that you are living is not what you desire, then you have work to do. And that's what the spiritual science helps you do. It helps you to be and tap into that higher aspect of yourself to do the work that you need to do, okay? All right, family. And what I'm explaining here is that you have to consider that when these spiritual systems or religious systems are setting up some aspect of self as an adversary, it's a disservice to the creation and God or goddess that you are, okay? You have been created and made because, you have been created and made from an aspect of love, what we might call love, okay? That's why you're here, as a soul, as a human, all right, family? So that it's important that you create your life and create your experience from the same vibration, a vibration of love and appreciation for your being. I am. When you say those two words, I am, what is the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? And what you believe about your I am is you, okay? If it's not something that is loving and appreciative, family, you got work to do. Spirituality ain't about, oh, I'm so spiritual, I'm a Christ, man, I'm so spiritual, I can like poop flowers and rainbows, I don't know where I come up with this stuff. But anyway, y'all get what I'm saying. A lot of people walk around just pontificating on the title, but the experience is something different, okay? Again, it doesn't matter what I think. All that matters is who you are. What is your I am? And if it's not in a place of loving and appreciating who you are, family, there's work to do. This is about self-improvement, not just being pious, okay? This is about self-development. And people who want to separate spirituality and self-development don't get it, all right? Because once you integrate it, family, life and your growth becomes amazing, all right? All right, family, I'm headed up this hill. So I am going to say goodbye, and I will talk with you guys another day. So let me know in the comments, you know, what your thoughts are about this. So I always appreciate hearing from you guys. All right, Reginald Martin, out.